Going on? What's going on? Welcome to Trucker Talk, episode 8. It's a beautiful day, man. How are you doing today, George? How
But
you doing
I'm
today?
I'm good. I am so good. Good to see. Good to be here, and good to be everywhere.
All right, well, man. How are you feeling? I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm in my feelings. I'm in my emotions and stuff. But how are you feeling today?
I'm, I'm good. I'm feeling really good. I always try to feel good. I had that mentality anyway.
All right. Well, you have a good work week. Everything
Oh, everything went good. Went good.
okay? Before I dive into my issues, I want to touch on what Pastor Austin talked about today because, man, I ain't gonna say I wasn't expecting that message, but he had a good message today. And for some reason, I don't care what time of the year it is, we always come back to relationships when it comes to topics and discussions. So, but one thing as I was listening in church, what he was talking about, he was saying how people when they get in relationships, it's like they say, but they're like, I love you, they're in relationships, but they don't really know what love is and how to love, I guess their love or their partner, whoever they're with, or their wife, husband, whoever. So I just I don't know, man. He dived into it, and then the way he broke it down, he used Kobe Bryant. He used Kobe Bryant as an example because people, or I forget whatever his highest scoring game he had, but the way he said it was people, they see the results, but they don't know the process.
Process. Yes.
So what do you think about that? Is I mean,
Yeah, and
as
that's
you
the
was
process to everything. That's the thing about it. Everybody looks at a this whatever situation is. They look at the end result, but I don't think they thoroughly dive into the process of getting to the end result. You got to start from one point to get to the other. And I think most people instant gratification is like, I want it now.
right,
I'm going straight to the end. But there's a process of getting to anything. Anything you do, there's a process to it. Even building a home, there's a process. There's a blueprint first. There's a thought
right,
in the blueprint. So you got to go by the blueprint, which is the process to get the end result. To get the end result, to have that end result that you want, hopefully.
right. And I thought I was just laughing at him in church because he's talking about, how I was using Michael Jordan. How they stick their tongue out and they do the
Yeah.
little cross. He's like, man, you can practice and do all them, mimic them, but unless you in the or what they say, what Drake says you were
Yeah, putting
shoot.
in, let you putting in the
No,
work.
Drake said you were without a shooting in the
Yeah,
but it's like, I mean, you got to put the work in. But yeah, man.
yeah.
But the message, today, and he was just, I mean, it was a powerful message, and I shared it on my Facebook because I think people that are in lust think they're in love. They just need to hear how deep that message and the way he broke things down, which it's in the I love you but series, but it's I love you but but he'll continue next week with it. But I just thought it was pretty just the way he broke stuff down, man. He just he went hard today.
Yeah, he does, and he does, kind of break it down to the point where you can actually understand it, almost in layman's term, where you don't have to think too much, just listen what he says, and the message kind of comes out pretty clearly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and dive into my mess, man, and it ain't too much, but one of the things I know you had a good week and everything, but man, I had to go up to Spartanburg, South. Well, a couple week before last week, I had to go to Newton, North Carolina, and time it was raining, so I didn't really get to see some of the things as I was driving through Asheville and Irvine. But I seen some of it on the way back. But then when I went to Spartanburg Thursday, um, I was as I was driving through, no Friday, Friday when I went to Spartanburg, as I was driving through, looking at like some of the devastation from the Hurricane Helene. Man, it was just I don't know. It took me. I guess it took me. It shook me up a little bit because it's like when the no offense, they had the fires in California and stuff. California, which we all show our empathy and we care about those people. But it's like when it happens closer to home, I guess it hits harder when you actually see some of the damage and all that stuff.
Yeah, going back to that whole thing of that saying, seeing is believing, because you don't see it. If you don't see it, you just kind of you can imagine till you actually physically see. It's like, oh my gosh, this is not even what I could imagine it's like. And that's for the devil. That's when it really hits you hard because you see the difference that has done versus us assuming and trying to imagine what the devastation did. And like I said, nothing affects you until it hit close to home.
You're right, man. You're right. And as I was coming through Irwin, Tennessee, and there was like, I guess the first time I came through, I didn't notice, but like there was like a hospital that was boarded up, but then I seen this plastic facility, which I heard about. It was sad, the groundings and stuff like that. It flooded, but I seen that and I was just like, man, like just that happened. Of course, that happened last and toward the end of last year. It's like, man, it's just it was hard for me to see that. Pretty hard for me to see that.
And that's when your emotions come in because you have to have you try to be empathetic to those situations because it's like you got to figure someone lost something,
Yes,
several someone's lost something, and you don't realize that's when you kind of like, man, what would I have done if this
correct.
had happened to me? You kind of and it really hits you. It's like, and it could happen to anybody at any time, and
Right.
unfortunately, it was them that it happened to. So you just kind of cherish every moment and everything that you have, and you like say, be careful what you worship. Also,
You're right about that, man. Because it can be gone. I mean, what you worship, it can be gone tomorrow, man. So today, episode 8, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. But before we get into emotional intelligence, I posted a question on social media last weeks or ago, and the question was, "Does hygiene matter in a relationship?" And I guess, I mean, it wasn't a trick question, but I mean, to each his own. We all have our own. We all do what we do. But before I before I go into my response to it, a friend of mine, Reese, she had commented that female friend of hers, because everybody's, our hygiene, our levels are different, and so she said a female friend of hers commented and said, well, not commented, but she had asked her about it. I guess been a while ago, just to see what she said about it, and she said that I guess whatever guy she's with, he's got to have like a manicure, pedicure. He's got to get like 4 whitenings throughout the year. He's got to, of course, he's got to be well groomed. He's got to have, as far as brushes. She said brush his teeth, I think 2 or 3 times a day. And I was like, okay, so. But basically, she just wanted somebody that they go to the doctor, they take care of themselves. And I was like, I think everybody's individuals. We all, whether we in relationships or not in relationships, we all have our own, I guess, own hygiene, I guess, in our own head. So to me, asking you this question, how do you feel about that as far as?
well, from a health standpoint, hygiene is necessary. I mean, good hygiene is always good, regardless. But I think we look at for that situation you was talking about, and I'm kind of wondering when I sit and listen, I'm thinking, what is she actually looking for? Is it a shiny trophy to keep polished, or is she looking for a person that that take care of themselves, that she can appreciate that person for being health conscious, And it's like, is it the trophy she want, or does she want a person to take care of themselves?
I wanted to hear you answer. Well, I guess it's funny. I mean, because just like going to the gym, and Pastor also, he said this too. But people, they go to the gym, and you can go to the gym, and whether it's male, female, whoever, vice versa. You look at somebody, you like, okay, And I was telling Malachi this the other day, but I said when I go to the gym, I see, you see people, you can tell if they work their upper body, their lower body, and you can tell if they're eating right also because it shows. And so people go to the gym, they may see something like, "Ooh, I like that," but in the same sense, like Austin said, it's like you can probably find somebody, they look good, but they might be dumber, dumber than like a bag of bricks. He didn't say bag of bricks, but I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So you gotta, like you said, it's not one of those things. Be careful what you worship, but just it can look good, but may not be good. So
Inside contents might not be what you want. Like I said, and we are physical, beings. We see, then we see, then we analyze this. That's what we want. And of course, I think in this time and age, social media has a play in what we think we want based on what society think we should have.
yeah, and it does because, well, you got them filters and all that,
Yes.
and it's not. Somebody told me the other day. they was talking about um well, you know, I like you you grow up watching, you got this is off the Family Manners and Full House and how well that wasn't on social media. That was on like regular TV. Like
Yes.
growing up, you seen stuff like that. You thinking, oh, that's how an average family's supposed to be. You know, dinner's cooked, everybody's sitting down and eating, talking about the day, boom, boom, boom. But it never life. My family wasn't like that. It sounded good. You know, my dad worked and my mom, she was at home, but it wasn't like that though.
And that's the thing about, we have to look at things as of say a time of, was it then, was it now, and then of course a couple of years from now it'll probably be really, I think it'll be different even 30 years ago, because back then you didn't have as much thing to grasp your attention, to hold your attention. Um, for example, when I was coming up, TV stations 12 o'clock, they were shut off. There was no TV
Wow.
after 12. There was no, actually, back when they called the blue law, nothing was open except for one hospital and the police department, fire department, emergency. Yeah. So most of the stores closed at midnight. There was not many, of course, there was not many stores to even stay open. But as things progresses, populations gets big. I think people need more access to things. And then when you have these stores that start staying up even later, now you got to have employees to work those hours that the store stay open later. So it's like, okay, I got to work tonight, so I'm not gonna be home for dinner. So I mean, just I think society and just the change of time changes everything that people do versus what they did years ago versus what they're doing now, and probably what they're going to do in about 10 years from now. It's going to be totally different as well, because so much electronics now. Well, for example, how many people shop on Amazon now? You don't even go out to shop. Christmas time, I think I sent you a text on that. They said on Cyber Monday,
Mhm.
oh, we have to look it up. It was the money that was spent on one day
Ridiculous,
alone. It
man.
was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, where does money? I don't have. Where does money come from?
Hey,
But
there's a
if you
lot of
look at,
people.
yeah, a lot of people as a collective, that money made a big difference in those sales for that one day. So, society and times change. Time doesn't. It will not stand still. You can if you want to, but you're going to it's like when I first got my smartphone, it's like, oh God, this is awesome. For before I had that slide phone, I couldn't get pictures, I couldn't get group messages. It's like I said, what did you just? I remember I would ask you, what did you just send me? I said, I can't even see this.
Hey, you better upgrade
It's
your
like
stuff,
it's like a
bro.
size of a thumbnail. It's like, what is it? And I couldn't blow it up because it was on an older phone, a slide phone. It's like, oh my gosh. Anybody got a
Got
group text? It's like, what are they talking about? All I got was a
it.
bunch of X's on my.
You guys step your game up, man. It's
But yeah, time changed, and
2025.
now just like anything else, that phone is like my lifeline to the rest of the world. All my other, just all family members that are away, we can text back and forth all day long, send pictures, and that's
Mhm.
we just the one way of keeping up. But like I say, time does change, so that's why I say we have to kind of adapt to time as well.
Yeah, it's about evolving, man. You got to
Oh
keep
yes,
evolving. So, with the world, and so emotional intelligence. Okay, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage both of your emotions and your understanding of your emotions of the people around you. And so, a guy, well, he's not a guy, but the father of EQ, Daniel Goleman. He's a psychologist. He also was a reporter for the New York Times, and he's got this audio book which I probably listened to about 2 or 3 times, George.
oh
And it's like I said, I guess I ain't gonna call myself a book nerd, but I used to not listen to audio books.
yeah.
I was one of those. I listened to my music, I had
Mhm.
my other stuff, but as I've been going into this I guess transition, as like I said, I'm taking this year personal for myself, my mental health and all that. People they laugh, and mental health is real. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm taking mine serious. But um EQ stands for emotional quotient. And of course, everybody know what IQ is, but Daniel Goleman, he had said that, and I had to look this up, and I didn't get it, but I don't understand it. But also, a person that knows how to handle their emotions and read people and understand people, And so Daniel Goleman had said that a person with a higher EQ will be more successful than a person with a higher IQ. And I was just like,
Wow.
that don't make no sense. I mean, I guess this day and time, you think somebody with a IQ, they're smart, but you can be smart and not Well, you walk to a room full of people with different attitudes and
Right.
stuff, and you're smart. You're the smartest person in there, but you don't know how to read their emotions and don't
Right.
know how to react to it. That's a whole nother ball game, George.
Yeah, because emotional stuff is it's kind of a tricky thing because everything is based off of not everything, but a lot of things are based off emotions.
Right,
You do a polygraph test based on emotions.
right.
When if you get pulled over by the police, your emotions come out, and then the results of how your emotions come out is going to
Hey,
be the results of what happens at that traffic stop. Or
right,
whatever
right.
thing is. So I think once you learn, if you can start reading people, kind of get almost typically it's like not reading minds, but you kind of get into that category of like, oh, okay, I can get an idea what they're thinking. So now I can figure out what my next move, almost like a chess game.
Right, right, right. Well, you got to, and it says they say your as far as IQ counts for only about 20% of success in life, with the remaining
Wow,
of 80% being made up of the factors of your emotional intelligence included. So I'm like,
that's
golly.
really
So,
deep.
but yeah, but man, it's I'm gonna read a couple quotes, man. It says you cannot control the emotions of others, but you can always control your response. That's a unknown quote. I like that quote.
Yeah, I like that.
Another one is emotional intelligence begins when you feel what you feel without being overwhelmed by it.
So that's really deep. Yeah,
So,
because I had no idea. We talked about this earlier. I said I might have to Google this stuff so I can get an idea of what all this means. It's pretty deep because emotional stuff is, like I say, it's real. And it changes the dynamics. A lot of things that we do in our everyday life.
well, like you said, everything, and when you said that everything is based off emotions, like think about, well, when I mean, sometimes you can, like, if you want a new car or whatever, you can based off of your emotions and how you feeling,
Yes.
you may go and buy a brand new car. Like
Mhm.
me, I bought a motorcycle. At the time I was in my and I don't know what I was doing, but at the time I bought a motorcycle. I can tell this story. I ain't even ashamed of it because I'm
Passed it now. You passed it.
I've learned my lesson. So I bought a motorcycle. I wanted it, yeah, pay cash for it, just for it to sit in my garage for a year. Then the more I thought about it, at the time it made me happy. I was happy, but then I was like, you know what? I really didn't even want this thing, but based off of my emotions, how I was feeling at the time, which I was in a bad place,
Yes.
it sounded good.
Yeah.
So
And even when I worked in the gym business, it's like those those purchases, and most purchases are emotional buys. Anything that you buy that's not a necessity, it's going to be an emotional buy. Whether it's going to your big box store and like, I'm just going to see what they got for sale. See something that you like, that's an emotional buy because you may not really need it, but it's like, oh wow, this is going to make me feel I'll have this if I need it, and if I don't need it, but I still have it because it's an emotional buy, a purchase that I bought. Gym memberships are another thing.
that's
It's an
what I was about
emotional
to
buy.
ask you.
Gym memberships are in emotion because
Woo!
when you feeling, somebody may come in about health and wealth and or mostly
January.
health. 1st of January, like I say, January, February, it's like these emotions, these New Year's resolutions, emotions. You start looking in the mirror a little bit more around December. It's like I need to get to the gym here pretty soon. I'm gonna wait till January. It's out, but it's like, of course, that is something you start right away. Not you don't. It's not a January thing. You start it as soon as you realize you want to do it.
Right.
But again, it's an emotional decision. Some emotional decisions are good. Some could be a little tricky. So be careful what your emotions allow you to do because it can steer you away from the main goal and the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish.
Right, 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 right. Well, man, well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up today, man. I'm gonna wrap it up with this quote. Uh, when you hold on, when you react, you let others control you. When you respond, you are in control. Boy Sanders.
Well, I like that. That's pretty good.
So,
That's
man,
another one of those emotional things you have to check yourself sometime. React, you respond instead of reacting.
yes, sir, yes, sir. Well, man, hey, as always, George, I
All right.
appreciate you, man,
Good day.
and I hope all y'all have a good day.
All right. Have a good one.
Struggle.